Thanks, Jack. Amy. Jack, Amy.
Great. Okay. No public here today, so we can skip the housekeeping and go straight to our karakia tīmatanga.
No.
Everybody together.
Yeah.
Shall we stand?
Yeah.
I would like to lead.
Tēnei au, tēnā mātou, hei kaitau, hei kauranga I ngā whakatauranga I ngā tīranga, ki uta, ki tai, ki a rewa ai ngā iwi kātoa o te taipura. Homi e, kui e, tāi ki e.
Apologies. Do we have any apologies? No. Over here, thank you. And declarations of.
Yes, so no apologies, and then declarations of conflicts of interest, item by item as we go.
Yeah, okay. Cover declarations of conflicts of interest. Anyone? Cover. Haere tonu. Let's go to the council minutes. Can we assume that these have been read? Any?
I'll move, Chair.
Yes, movers, thank you. Joe,
Happy to second.
Marty second. The recommendation there that the minutes be confirmed is true and correct. Any?
E te hea mana ko tahi te mea hei tāpiri atu ko te karakia whakamutunga
Aye.
I te mutunga o te hu.
Ko te he wharangi?
Te wharangi te kaumāwha.
Okay. So we have on page 14 whakamutunga, but we don't have the karakia whakamutunga and who said it. So in future, shall we recommend that we include that? And
A he whakaro kai tērā, kia tāpiri hea te karakia whakamutunga.
nā wai karakia.
Nā te karakia whakamutunga e ngari ko te mea ke whakaro ana hau kia tāpiri hea.
Me whakatika e nei?
Ai, he mene mana.
Yes, so actually, Councillor Jones provided a tribal aphorism at the conclusion of the meeting, which is at the end of the confidential minutes, which is page 90.
Oh, the
We did discuss whether we were going to have a karakia when we went into confidential, but we decided that was for future discussion.
Oh, kia ora, tēnā.
Perfect. Thank you. And so in future, they will be recorded. The whainga. Ka pai te records. We tahi atu. Any other comments? Okay. All right then. Well, then,
Changing this.
excuse me, what's that, right?
It's all right. No, I've got to go. Gotta go something.
So we will keep the, so the recommendation that the minutes of the meeting, true and correct, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Thank you.
Now just jump to the supplementary item, which was 6.1, the financial report, which was circulated separately to the original agenda.
Happy to move.
So it's Chair, it's just supplementary 6.2.
Oh, sorry.
One, so the supplementary agenda.
Yep, I have them too.
Have you got it in front of you?
I have,
You've got it?
so I'm happy to move it.
We've got Jack moving. Would you like to
Oh, yes,
second?
definitely, yeah.
Any matters arising?
I'd just like to ask Bruce one question. The capital expenditures bit behind on Māori and I think you reckon we'll catch up with them?
I had a chat with the river program manager earlier today, and I've got a total expenditure budget on that we're $5 million this season. It's been problematic with the rain conditions because they so pure. Speaking of the program manager, he was optimistic that we'll make up on some time for that. And I understand also for alternative motor scheme works, that's progressing well. I understand just started the 16th of January.
So that's the cost of, right, so that's weather related to that. It's also carrying over from last year's works as well. Yeah. $1 million. Chair, in addition, we've got an extension for the Modi one. As a result of make sure that we've got good road alignment. We've got to do that. And yes, if it is approved. Thank you. Number
Sorry, it's just that the financial report be received.
Okay, so if that is all comments, so Stuart.
Through the chair, just thought it'd be worth making a comment. Notwithstanding that we haven't got the update for November on the external managed funds, they do represent quite a big component of our P&L in the sense of balancing our books. The thing worth, I think, observing going into the next 4 to 6 months is that revenues are likely to become more under strain. We will start to see a trend where arrears and collections will probably in the next quarter start to show a bit of a trend, and it may well be that they trend above budget in terms of the shrinking household wallet, both in terms of higher mortgage rates as well as the impact of inflation, which is running in the mid-7% at the moment. And I think it also, the expenditure is, and it is usual that this council sees a lot of the expenditure pick up in that calendar first quarter. So from January through to April, you will start to see a bit more of the picking up where expenditure is, as I say, at the moment, you're just in more but you'll also start to see the impact, I believe, of 2023-24 inflation. And I know that the budget year has been on the basis of Burl forecasts. Now, my experience with other councils in the last month has been with the Burl presentation is that Burl have probably got it a little bit light. So what we're seeing, just I think it's really good to have this in the back of our heads to expect that expenditure may well rise above budget inflation. Because I think, correct me if I'm sort of around the 4% mark. To give you an idea, we're seeing infrastructure, CapEx, and other construction inflation 23-24 around the 15% mark nationally, and is seeing wage inflation 6 to 8%. And I think that that's kind of a bit of a reality check that's coming through in terms of people's expectations and forecasts on already established budgets. So this was just a bit of a look forward that we may see this impact tightening up to our P&L over the course of the next 3 months. That was just all I wanted to make as a
Thank you. Thank you for that, Stuart. Would anyone else like to comment on that?
So Stuart, you agree though that come the end of the calendar year that there's always that sort of adjustment, whether it's up or down, and going to the holiday period is always a sort of crazy time, and that may or may not reflect on this, but we just don't know yet. So you're predicting 3 or 4 months, whereas I'm suggesting that we want to wait until really the new year before you ever think about.
I think it's more about anticipating that there will be changes to this. It's looking good at the moment. I mean, at the moment, we're really looking in good shape. We've not seen a number of things flow through, and I think that's what we may well find is that when you analyse the February data, it's going to be a bit of a catch up. And so just to anticipate that, it's certainly not going to be fault of management not getting budgets right. It's going to be we've got this little tide on its way. Yeah. Good.
Okay, thank you, Stuart.
Thanks, Stuart. Are you in a position to talk about the other TAs as to what state they're in? You say we go quite well. We're tracking quite well as a council.
I can broad brush that most of the TAs are kind of fortunate in that they've got what I term quite a lot of hay and haver. Okay, they've got investments that they don't have, apart from Greater Wellington Regional Council, a significant amount of debt.
I was meaning more in the north.
But in the north, if we're thinking of the territorials, most of them have got a reasonable amount of debt leverage. They don't have that up their sleeve. We've got a very good investment base of council sleeve in terms of that, and that's probably the biggest positive that we've got compared to others. They've got some very significant hits on things like roading. And that's really that's been really playing havoc with their current and 1 year plan type budget assumptions. So what I'm seeing is pullback from the Bill recommended assumptions, and that the territorial councils are factoring in much higher levels of inflation into their inputs.
And defaults.
That's, yeah, I think they're waiting for that to see they're waiting to see that happen. Yeah, it's not been it's just starting to bear.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, Amy.
Thanks, Billy. A question I think probably for you, John. I was just looking at the table of variance. There's quite a lot of savings in each of the groups attributed to lower than budgeted salaries, and so I guess just wondering what are the impacts of that on our outputs and therefore meeting our KPIs?
Through you, Madam Chair. Very good question. I've got meetings with all of our group managers this side of Christmas to go and do exactly that exercise. We're X number of months into the financial year. As you rightly pointed out, through placing it over and the difficulty of recruiting. At the moment, we do have a large experience. We need to understand how the impact it's having on our delivery on the ground, on our KPIs, and we'll be coming back to council in February and not that as to where we're at in that space.
Joe.
Through Chair, on page 6, page 5 of the financial reporting document, so the CEO 58K for the previous CEO final pay, and then 36K for our current CEO's project overruns. I just want someone could explain that to me.
Sure, Chair. The first one that we was discussed previously in council confidential. We can pick that one up in council confidential. But what's in the report?
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Any others? Okay, so the recommendation is that the report be received.
Yep.
All in favour, say aye. Against? Carry, thank you. And Haere Tato Ki Ngā Take, decision-making matters, the triennial agreement. Would anybody wish to speak to that? We have covered this several times. But, thank you, Rick, Amy.
Both recommendations.
Both recommendations that we receive the report and I am authorised to sign it along with the others of the other councils. Any discussions? Because we've workshop this.
Any indication that the other councils are not happy with that?
Well, we had the mayoral forum or in the final district council, and that was where Moko made some suggestions and put that back in. So I think we're at a point that we're all really happy with that. So I know the other councillors will be having meetings tomorrow, and we'll find out shortly. Okay.
Yep.
In favour? Against? Carry, thank you. The next item is the 2023 meeting calendar. The recommendations are that the report be received, that the program of meetings be adopted, and that the meeting calendar be reviewed for effectiveness in conjunction with the government structure. August, September, we can take those all together.
I'll move those.
Rick and Marty. Sorry, what's that, Marty?
Give it a go.
Give it a go.
For a year.
Amy.
I just wanted to acknowledge all the work that goes into on a year calendar. It's like a rainbow of different things that have all been figured out to make it work for the councillors and work for staff. So just really acknowledge you, Chris, and all the teams for the work you've done.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. So Chris, will this be transferred to our calendar on our computer?
Yes, so I will give you an email warning when you're going to get a tsunami of invites come, and basically if you accept them all, you do probably for 6 months, you'll be set for another 6 months or 4 months time, so you're not totally inundated with it. That will be in your electronic diary.
So you'll just do 6 months of time.
That's a lot, Jeff.
Yeah. Oh, it's wrong. I
It's
can't even read it.
Christine.
Okay, one at a time, please.
Big statement.
Thank you, Chris. I total support. Peter and Kels.
Tēnā koe te hea mana, e whakaaro ana hau, kia whakatakoto ia tētahi tikanga, e kawe ai nei hui ki ngā takiwa i ngā ia kaitaia, kia kaikohera. Kia waiwā ki ngā hapuhi, o i ngā takiwa ki te haere mai ki ngā hui, kia waiwāhi hoki tātou, ki te kōrero ki te waka take ana ki ngā maki ngā te kau.
E whakaaro pai te tā.
Kia neke atu I te ripa te kau pai heneti o ngā hui.
It's a good suggestion.
Kia ora.
So I'm not sure in the past, John, that meetings have been held in, other areas of the north, which is the suggestion here that, as a council too, we can take the opportunity to see other parts of our region by potentially having meetings in Kaikohe and at our other offices. So that is the suggestion here. I'm not sure whether the venue of the meetings has been included in here, but what are the sorts of other councillors in terms of doing that? John, would you like to comment too?
Sure, Madam Chair. At the moment, the proposal there is the most of them the exception, there was exception one is Te Amarua talking beach 4, which is usually open for the time. I think the regional economic development and climate change one takes around the districts. About if I remember how we Chris, and I think Councillor Kaya, you were on council at the time. We did previously do council meetings around the region. That must have been 2 council terms ago that we did that. It does require quite a bit of work on staff to find the venues that we can have online facilities and those sorts of things. It's not impossible, it is possible. We could bring back cost of the program for you to have a look at in the new year.
stage of it, as long as we had some added value in that, you could use that time to visit some like things that we've talked about doing as part of the grand tour. So you can substitute a grand tour. That's central far north, doing the flood strip, the water schemes, that kind of thing. So if you can combine it, good idea.
Okay, Rex and Marty and John.
Yeah, I can understand, Peter Lucas, how you be good to move around, but I think it's quite expensive moving all of the staff to a different venue. Like I'm moving us and the staff to a different venue. And that's the first comment. Second comment is that it wasn't well attended last time, I remember, because I went to one, I think, and I can't remember, I think it's the only one there, but I did go to one and they were a hassle, I thought. That was the feeling, and that's why they weren't carried on. The odd one would be good. I wouldn't like to see it go into a cycle of that. So one or two would be fine, but I don't think there's any point in moving it around the region just for the sake of it, because the expense and also the inconvenience of moving everybody. It's better. I know it's inconvenient for you. Felix coming the furthest than Joe, but that's two compared to all of the 20 odd. So how many of the people we need at a meeting, which is about 20, I suppose.
Perhaps, thank you. Just for clarification, you're not opposed for the staff to look at scenarios?
Oh, no, not at all. I'm just saying, I think I wouldn't like to see it rotated all the time, but one or two would be great.
Perhaps we could think about with the staff with Zoom and scenarios around whether it would be 2 a year. Peter Lucas's original recommendation was half of the meetings. Marty.
Well, it's just, you pretty well hit it, was we are now in a different era where we've got Zoom capability of all staff to be able to Zoom in. So it's either Joe and Peter Lucas and myself, I suppose, coming down here. So it's reciprocates.
John?
Yeah, I suppose it's coming from the same angle. I just want to know the true cost, what it would cost. But I know with Federated Farmers and Beef Land, we had to have an event to make it worthwhile for people to come into as well. So if you've got an issue coming up in a certain area, you hold a council meeting there, they turn up. That can work quite well. But going by the public here today, not looking that great, is it? Getting them involved.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for those suggestions. I'm sure staff will take it on board. Okay,
Jeff?
Peter Lucas, the manager.
No, I mean, good place.
Just reading it out. Great.
Could we just one speaker, please?
I te huarahi whakamama te wahawa kia hai. Hapori. Te huarahi tēnei hei whakahoahoa ki ngā hapori, ki ngā hapuru, ki ngā iwi. Te huarahi tēnei hei kawe i ngā taki ki ngā iwi, ki ngā hapuru, ki ngā hapuri. Ko reira anō tētahi mea nui mō tātou katoa. Nā te mea ko tātou ngā pononga o te iwi. I ngā kahore tātou e whakahoahoa ana te hapuri, e kure o tia tātou te mea ko tātou ngā pononga, ko tātou ngā wenirau. Kuia tēnā ko tātou. Kia ora te hea.
Kia ora, Lucas.
Yeah, essentially like to, so top of what I only sort of what Peter said, which isn't too much, but John and Jack, you got to have tucky, you got to have something you want to talk about, and if we can look at something that's specific, I think that, and there is a lot of specific stuff we need to look at. I think it'd be invaluable. So it's no use just having a full meeting that go from Ray, because the cost and very happy to travel, but when we've got some worthwhile things to have a look at.
Okay.
Right, Amy. Thank you. I just wanted to thank you for the mix. Just as part of it, I'm sure you would, John, but it would be good to get visibility of the planned regional hui for senior, which presumably are back on the agenda to go every second month to one eye in the region, because I think that as part of the picture, that can satisfy some of that
those suggestions.
Emails or listening to it.
Thank you. And also noting that Far North District Council, they do their calendar by the Maramataka, which I'm a little bit envious of, but you know, I'm sure we'll get there one day. And take note of Maramataka. So, in saying that, thank you again, Chris, for all that work. All these recommendations together, all in favour, say aye. Against? Carry, thank you.
I thought one of the sisters calendar, but I haven't translated it.
Oh yeah, it used to be translated, but good on you. Next, moving on next to the freshwater plan, item 7.3. We have a raft of recommendations here, 5 recommendations. Can we take this together? Yeah. Anyone wanting to move? Jack, seconder. Marty, thank you very much, Marty. Anyone like to comment? Or Ricardo Tari, thoughts?
He awanga tōku. Aha kua kei reira te kupu titi me.
Ko te whārangi?
Te whaharangi tūru te kau mā whā. Te whaharangi tūru te kau mā whā e kore rana tātou ki te freshwater planning. Aha kua kei kona te kupu titi me. Ora kaunoa hau kia kite I te kupu te kāhu o tātou. Nā reira e āwanga hau kua mahue tērā tarangatanga o tātou ki waho o tēnei pepa. Kia hau nei me whai wāhi tērā karangatanga ara te rōpū o ngā hea mana ki roto tēnei pepa me te tautoko hoki I ngā mema e mea nei ka whakatūturingia ki runga I te tīwei. Kuia tēnā kota ka whakatako tō kimi o tātou.
Thank you. One moment, I have you noted there, John. Sorry, John, did one of the staff want to present on this, or did you want to say something?
I can speak to it if there are any specific questions or Ruben.
So on that point, you know, we do have this history with the Taitokere Māori and Council Luki Party, but we also have direct relationships and responsibilities to Te Kaua Taonai. And, you know, we moved into this new phase of our new council structure and appointees on our property investment and likewise. And we agreed that the process for opening up nominations would be iwi, hapu, rather than taking it to a political body, whether it's an internal political body or an external political body such as Te Kaua Taonai. And so the suggestion here is that, once again, I think what we're doing here with the recommendations is similar to last term, right? And so the suggestion from Councillor Jones is that there's a motion from Tony and the selection process.
Tērā E te hea mana me tāturi atu tētahi o ngā hea mana aha iwi ki te kanga ko Councillor McDonald hei atu I te tikanga hei whakatau ko wai ngā mema.
So are you suggesting that the recommendation be amended, recommendation 2A, and have a Te Kaua Taonai iwi chair included? Thoughts? Marty?
Oh, Jono. Yeah. Sure, it's just about seeking clarification. So you're looking for 2A to edit a place for a representative from the Kaua Taonai onto the panel to appoint members on the Kangaroo Advisory Group.
Yes. And so it may be that rather than two tangata whenua members of the TMAC, we pay 10 up here, if a couple of the kotai, and kotai mo Te Kaua Taonai. So maybe one for each.
in supporting that one, the only relationship we have with as councillors is with Te Tīmak. We don't have with Te Kahua Taunui as councillors as such, but there are iwi members on Te Tīmak, and so that's where I think that's probably a good way of sort of addressing that.
We shall build our relationship
Yes,
with
yeah.
Mihi because they are the ones who we have statutory responsibilities to, and Tīmak is an internal council committee. Understanding that each of them come, you know, and with different types of representation, but Te Kahua Taunui is quite particular in our responsibilities. And I would think that we would want to, in this term, help each of you to build relationships with them.
No, that relationship building is important.
Yeah.
But until then perhaps if we, as your suggestion is, that one of the iwi members of Te Tīmak is there for sure.
Yes.
Very happy with that.
So the Tīmak and one Te Kahua Taunui.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a question. This particular set of recommendations being cannabis to Tīmak, I believe, and second approval. So through Madam Chair, links to the original resolutions that council passed might have been 6 months ago, because we've now had a change of members, we need to update the membership onto the panel. Previously it was Councillor Josh Yeoman and Councillor Justin Blakey were on the panel, so we need to update the members that are on the panel. And so just briefly was seeking to reconfirm that this council motion that we put into council the process for both updating the panel process for appointment of members on the Water Advisory Group, but also importantly, resolution 5 is about those 3 TP members that are appointed on to the Water Advisory Group, that those are also 3 representatives that sit as council through the workshop of the freshwater championship as council workshops, freshwater championship moving forward.
May we address 2.2a first and then go to 4 and 5?
That's wise.
Yeah, okay.
So what I'm concerned about is that, I mean, I've got nothing wrong with that suggestion. I think it's merit. My issue is that would we then be making suggestion that the feedback has nothing about it? So what I'm saying is my feeling would be that unless we go back to feedback, we probably don't run out of time to have that approved, that we actually add another rather than replace a feedback member with to go totally, that just to be added rather than replace. How does that sound?
Wino kia hau nei, me tini te kupu te Taitokerau Māorian Council Working Party ki te iwi me te hapu. Nā te mea katoa ngā mema o taua komiti I ahu mai ngā iwi me ngā hapu. Nā reira, koia tēnā ko te karangatanga tika ki a hau o e ngā mema. Me te tāpiri atu I tētahi o ngā hea manaka I hei atu I a kurua ko Councillor McDonald ki te whakatai ko wai ngā mema e rua ka whakakanuhi ngā iwi me ngā hapua.
Okay, so we have another proposal there. So we have several proposals on the floor to add in Te Kahua Taunui and keep the Tīmak. See, we understanding that the Tīmak has had this relationship in terms of the freshwater plan, just koenei te tino kaupapa tēnei ni. And they have had oversight and a beneficial oversight as well, and inclusion. And every triennium we should seek to improve on that process. I think it would be great to have iwi chair from Te Kahua Taunui, and it may be well, we have until March, I believe. March is the first Tīmak meeting because we're yet to go through the nomination process. So February 23rd, okay, February 23rd. My only thing is we have particular timeframes around getting our freshwater plan out to the public. And if we go iwi hapu, that might require a longer process than if we go directly to Te Kahua Taunui and the Tīmak, will have some expectations as well. If I can't remember,
Amy, so I would be happy to support the amendment, which I understand it is 2A, we add a D, which is an EV chair.
Thank you.
And so I would be comfortable to support that. So that's formally on the table.
I think that's probably going to be, from the feeling I get on the room, the most ideal addition.
Just a question of that is the members, present members from the TMAC membership. Are there any iwi chairs already there or iwi representatives already on that?
I'm going to go for Zimmerine here on the panel. That was by Nilla Norris and no, Oriel Street. Nora and panel for appointment.
Because Alan and Nora both have stepped back now. Nora and oh, yes. Yeah.
My recollection, Marty, was that it was down more Ramika and Nilla Norris were the previous representatives on the
Yeah, so no, it would be they're both hapu.
Yeah.
They're not iwi.
Well, we can suggest or recommend or ask the TMAC. And I just emphasise that because we as councillors haven't, it'd be really neat to start talking to iwi chairs such as yourself, Peter Lucas, at all, so that we do have that relationship built. And there's been running quite a good process to date, I think, as to why that needs to be changed at this time, but certainly for that to evolve is where I'm coming from.
Okay, so do we have, I feel like we do have agreement to add D. If further Te Karu o Taunui iwi chair.
Two options, the original movement, second, or happy to get in here. We can consider on that basis. If you want to propose a stack of amendments, with this and see the second amendment, we'll make amendments on the table for consideration either way.
Well, Marty, you seconded it.
No,
sorry, who seconded it?
I was saying that it could come from already the TMAC position we've got, rather than having a separate D. But if that achieves the objectives, then I'm happy to go with it.
With it, the addition of a D?
Yeah, if that's going to achieve the objective.
And sorry, I'm forgetting who's seconded it. Was it
It
you?
was Jack and Amy, or Amy Jack.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were happy to represent.
I'm sorry, I don't think I seconded this because I'm with
You moved it.
So I just said I get my you seconded.
No, perhaps I was misunderstood.
I've seconded the amendment, so I think the party, you can do the second.
Well, now I'm happy for the words to be put in my mouth because I'm more comfortable with it over time. Bit of digestion, getting through the raw bit on the outside, getting to the gem, but certainly we need EU representation in the room.
Hopefully. Chris, would you be able to remind us who?
Yeah, so the original movement seconder were Councillor Proa and Councillor Robertson. If you're happy with the addition of D, we can carry on that basis. If you're not happy with that, then we've potentially got an amendment on the table from Councillor Jones.
Okay, are we, Jack and Marty, you're okay with that? Yes.
Happy with that.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Now,
Like that one there across the line.
yes, because noting that we've also raised the part, was it part 4? Part 3, that the 3 tangata whenua representative members of TMAC endorsed by TMAC to attend council workshops on the content of official plan. Oh no, that's a remuneration one. Council approves retrospectively the attendance of 3 tangata whenua reps at the council workshop. would we also wish to invite Te Karo Taranoi Iwi Chair to that workshop? Essentially, for those that haven't been involved in the process, the workshop is where we decide on the policy. Yeah, where we can sort of, go back and forth with our staff and get to the specific kupu. Councillor Jones, would you also like the addition there for Te Karo Taranoi Iwi Chair to be added in? Recommendation 4. 3 and 5. 3 and 5.
Ai. Tērā pia he te ponu e nā mema, engari kia pai wāhi e te hea mana, te kahi e tāngu ki te tuku kōrero mo te tuku waka.
Tēnā pia, He ke, tēnā te rere ke, tēnei mo ngana tātou kaore te katoa o Te Karo Taranoi peka mai ki tēnei.
Ai, nā mea kei pānga rei katoa ngā.
We will seek to improve our relationships with them, and that's why I think that we just agreed that they will be on the nomination panel. And Oria, would you like to comment? Kia ora, Oriel. Yes, I do hope that I look forward to it if we are going out to the mihi as well. So, for consistency's sake, the proposal is that we add Te Karo Taranoi to the following recommendations, because for them to be included in the council workshops and remunerated as well. And the matter of, so I was a member of the Water Advisory Group, the Taxpaying Water Advisory Group, and what we had when we met, because we're all policy writers, is we had TMAC members. It's in our in the terms of reference as well, right? That TMAC members would attend, and they would make up our quorum. At times we had trouble getting quorum, and the turnover was high. And so, with respect to them, how we redesigned our council structure and recommended appointed experts to be nominated, so that we could relieve our iwi and hapu chairs and leaders to stay at that governance level of the TMAC. But the proposal here is to continue with that. For consistency's sake, and I'm asking you first, Councillor Jones, would you also want Te Karo Taranoi to be included in attending the freshwater plans or one of their nominees?
Ki te hia rātou. Me whai wāhi rātou ki roto I te pepa nei. Mihi mea kei reira tō rātou ingoa, ka whai wāhi rātou ki te tuku e tahi māngai I nā hia rātou.
Okay, so we can invite them. That's the proposal. How are we feeling around the table about that?
I've got a question on the construction of the TWAG, the TWAG. How was that constructed at the start from inviting, well, it was advertised for positions, wasn't it? And that was in consultation with iwi and Te TMAC?
They were on the nomination panels. That was Mother and...
So what I'm saying is the design of TWAG included iwi with the design of TWAG, or sorry. Two things. One, we went to the TMAC for advice around the establishment of TWAG at the Federal Water Advisory Group. We also went to wrong river, my recollection is we also went to a couple of Tāui CEs, establishment of people. Then for the membership of Tāngata Water Advisory Group, we went out to Iwi and Hapu, so we went out to Iwi and Hapu and said, look, who's the technical group that is looking at being established to advise council on this. Please put in your nominations for membership onto Tāngata Water Advisory Group. And then there was the panel combination of council and technical members to go through those nominations for membership on Tāngata Water Advisory Group, which are now just agreeing to add onto their panel to convert new members onto the Tāngata Water Advisory Group. I think what we're talking about here now is how the system was set up was that the 3 TT members that sat on the Tāngata Water Advisory Group, the 3 TT members that sat on the technical group, would also be the 3 TT members that sat around this table with councillors when developing regional planning change. And there are a couple of reasons for that. One, this was the government's table. 2, there was the continuity between TT man, Tāngata Water Advisory Group, and council workshopping on, so that those 3 members of TT would provide some of that continuity of messaging from Iwi and Hapu straight onto the council workshops on it. I think what we're discussing at the moment is whether you want to add additional onto they just sit around the workshop table with council on the development of plan change. And my only thought around that is that it's the continuity and the time frame of us being able to enable that to happen.
Those workshops would be held for several months.
Well, we're starting already, Chair, we just don't have the ability to get those 3 members here at the moment. So all of the workshops that you guys are starting at, like one tomorrow, once you guys pass your resolution here with whatever shape or form it is, we'll get started with those representatives to those workshops.
I think the key workshops are the workshops when we approve the kupu, when we approve the policy, and we're still, we're still working on that, right?
The reason I ask for that is because iwi were involved right from the building of the vehicle. So iwi are involved and have been fully involved. So that's why I wouldn't want to hold up the process, if it does hold it up at all, to be able to add an additional point where it's already been included, incorporated.
But let's be clear that not all the iwi sit on the TMAC. Yeah. And so we can't make an assumption of that. Let's be clear that the TMAC is a council working party.
I know, accepting that, but the working of the water advisory group was constructed with the input of iwi. So to TMAC aside, who put reps onto it for council purposes, but the actual water advisory group was built from the start with iwi involved. And so I just I don't want to see the process held up.
Thank you. I'm hearing all of your inputs, and for me, in my experience, the workshops are the most important. That's where the decisions are made on the policy. The water advisory group only makes recommendations. The water advisory group are appointed experts as well, and I'm assuming that may be reviewed by the new TMAC. Because there's potential to bring on new technical advisors into that group as well. So I don't believe it will be a longer process by joining Te Kaua Tamu. They're quite sophisticated and resourced and staffed. And we have a few months to let them know. So revisiting the recommendations. Is anybody opposed to including Te Kaua Tamu into recommendations 3, 4, and 5?
I'd like to say one word.
Thanks, John.
I'd like to know the costings of what this will cost, so that probably affect my decision. But the other thing that's really haunting me today is that I'm English speaking only, and a lot of this conversation has not been in English. So I've sort of felt I've been excluded from this conversation. So that be good, please.
That's a good point. Can we have an update on translation services? For real, please. Thank you.
thoughts. So just in terms of the response around translator services, I know through our chair and also to support Councillor Lucas Jones, as we've been looking at having a translator service available for council meetings, particularly these ones. And we've done some work. And then I was just going to go to our chief executive to sign off. Well, we are having a test as a comment because just to explain translator services, you can have two types of translation services. One, we have simultaneous, we have people with earphones on, and so you have someone in the room who's simultaneously translating as people who choose only to speak into the ill. It can be translated for the councillor's benefit. FNBC have undertaken simultaneous translation, but the feedback we've received is that that means not all of the public, all the staff are able to because they haven't got earphones. So they are now looking because they have at least half a dozen full speakers. They're now looking at consecutive translation where they have a translator in the room. Now there was translators based on the principles of having a registered translator through Tōna Whiri Hireo, which is again as a recommendation and came with support from Councillor Jones. We've only got a few that are based in Taitokoro, actually registered, but we have confirmed one who says he's available next year to begin to support. His name is Kawati Waitfit, and he's registered, and we just need to make sure he's available. Our recommendation through our CE, so that needs to come through our CE to council. Our recommendation is that it's for our public meetings and also our TTMAC meetings, because we have to make sure it's within the budget we have available at this point. If it needs more, what we would expect then is we put in a proposal for a long-term disability. So just wanting to support Councillor Blackwell's request that we have got something in the pipeline and we're looking to address it by January.
Thank you. In my experience, I'm looking at the UN, like there's 7 or so official languages, global languages, and so all the meetings there have 7 translators there, and we all have the earpieces, so you can flick through and find whichever one you want consistently throughout the entire meeting. So it's not only so for me, simultaneously is preferred if we can pick up those extra earpieces, because if it's one after the other, then it could be double time in our meeting. Yeah, it's the only thing. And so I've got you. Thanks, Jeff. Now, Councillor Blackwell also asked about will it be, an impact on the costs. Sorry,
Sure, Chair. So before coming to the cost, it's a requirement on myself to be able to provide translation services for council meetings where so other than my we don't have it in place at the moment. So there is the clear provision within the act that Tarango is an official language of New Zealand, can should be encouraged, and we should be providing translation services so that all members and the public also understand and spoken. And again, my apologies that we have got that service in place at this stage. Yes, there will be a cost, like everything, and we'll have to have a look and see how we can manage that. It'll be how much of a service this is, how much cost, but we'll come back to you as soon as we can. We'll get that in place as soon as we can.
Okay,
For clarification purposes, Madam Chair, the reason I'm speaking mildly is I think it's really important that we be able to express ourselves. But in terms of this decision, I'm simply suggesting that one of the iwi chairs from the Papua Town Room join yourself and Councillor McDonald on that matter. And I don't think it would have any impact on cost because we're not adding any more members. All we're saying is that the membership should not be kept to the council working party. Membership should be extended to those iwi that we have a partnership with. So that I can't see how that would change, but just for the purpose of clarification, that's what I'm saying.
Which one's me?
Kia ora, Madam Chair. Kia ora, Councillor Jones. So you're referring to, you're referring to a resolution two, which I think talks about adding a onto the panel. I thought the political had been moved on to resolution 5, which was the last resolution on rights or treatment members to be stood around the council, all of councillors developing the plan change. So the political, I thought, being now on, did you also want to cover autonomy representation in resolution 5? And if that was the case, then yes, there may be a cost of those autonomy members should be remunerated for all of those workshops that you're going to go through next year, which is probably appropriate.
Through you, Madam Chair, I think we need to incrementally start to develop our relationship and understanding of the role of the elected iwi chairs, and understand that that's a key relationship for the council to have. At a starting point, I suggest that those that an iwi chair from Te Kapu o Kaunui join the panel that will be making the decision about who will in fact populate those roles. And I think we'd be open for those members to not only come from Te Taitokero Māori Council Working Party, because there are iwi and hapu that are not members of the council working party, and we don't want to exclude people from putting their name forward or being nominated.
Okay, so let's not go back and revisit 2 because we've already passed it. 2 is basically having an addition of Te Kahu o Taonui sitting on the panel that decides who the technical advisors are. Now, the next suggestion was that number 5, that be amended to add Te Kahu o Taonui in terms of attending the council workshops with us and deciding on the policy itself. So I'll just let you think about that and come to Chief and then John.
Oh no, that's fine. I'd rather you finish this, and I just want to go back to the translation.
Okay. Oh yes. Okay.
Yep.
We'll come back to that. John, was that on the translations or?
No, I wasn't asking for the cost of transaction. I was actually asking the cost of these appointments. That's what I just want to know what the cost of anything. Just a Scott background. Sorry.
Yeah. So I'm not sure myself how much the panel gets remunerated, but our staff can update us. And when we decide if we're adding them to number 5, then we'll also get an understanding of what that cost will be. Or would you like it first?
Well, no, once you make the decision, we'll know what the cost is. We just keep it up, out the open.
So all the 3 TTMAC members' participation in the planning challenge workshop of the council, it's within the existing budget, we've already budgeted for that, and that's based on the non-elected members' expenses policy, which is $240 per meeting. Of that budget based on the number of meetings and workshops we anticipate holding. If you add more members onto that, you will have to rework and see depends how many members we've been getting.
Can I sort of clarify that? So it's 280.
Yeah, 280.
Plus travel.
Yeah. The 280? Yeah, it's gone up to 286.
240. I thought we took.
If I could just remind councillors, it's 240 in the policy at the moment. You may be referring to some other workshops that we've been having around what goes into our annual plan.
Oh,
sorry.
Yes.
So, but it's still travel, isn't it?
Travel.
And are we only talking 1 extra person for each, or
1 person for number 2, which we just
one
approved,
person?
on 1 panel deciding who's going to be on the advisory group.
Right, perfect.
Yeah.
I was getting a bit lost.
And that panel won't meet very often. That panel will be
I think I got it.
to update the membership on the Whanganapino Advisory Group. And always reviews applications and makes a decision.
Yep.
They won't be that frequent. Hopefully. the workshops on the freshwater planning challenge, though, there will be quite a number of those workshops next year as you guys work through what the rules are for freshwater management. So just point of clarification, so at the two to 3 to 5 district knowledge that they're important to the solutions. Is that right? Good. You don't need to add them to 3 and 4 because they're retrospective for payments on members already. It's just 5. If you choose to add a couple of times over here, then it would be how many additional members we wish to include. You've got 3 at the moment. That's what the proposal was.
Through you, Madam Chair, I'm not suggesting we increase membership. What I'm saying is that we must be open to receiving nominations from outside of a council approved working party.
Can I suggest then in 5 that you have that the 3 tangata whenua representative members of Te Tautokura Māori and Council Working Party, comma, to include an iwi chair, comma, endorsed by Te Tautokura Māori and Council Working Party to attend council workshops. So it will include an iwi chair. If we can put that into it, will that solve what we want to achieve? There will be an iwi chair because we're saying there should be an iwi chair. So it's either in a 5A or an additional clause, but we can phrase it to include an iwi chair.
Thoughts on that proposal? Amy?
Can I suggest, because we're having actually quite a complex conversation in a formal meeting, stop possibly the best place to try and really figure it out. So I just wonder if a suggestion for us to get through the agenda today is that we amend 5 to just read that the 3 tangata whenua representatives and to attend council workshops, sort of take up the mention of the committees. To capture a little bit of flexibility, but possibly John has given him that's the it's not right.
Thank you for your attempts to try and bring us, but I think we're almost there, Jono.
Good, Madam Chair. I think what Councillor Peter-Lucas is proposing that you've got in resolution 2, a suggestion, if you approve your resolutions that you've got there, that doesn't stop us coming back to this, because Councillor McDonald is right. I feel like I need to put on a whiteboard and explain how these other things fit together. And I wonder if at the moment as your holding position as you maintain the status quo, essentially is what you're doing by resolution 5 of having those 3 TP members coming and sitting at the table. That allows us as a council to move forward with the kaupapa and not leave. Because otherwise, if we don't resolve it, then we can't invite those TP members that you will be having. But that we can recircle around this to explain more, and if you actually want to do something different moving forward and additional methods, then we can bring it back into the folks that
I like that suggestion because I have the benefit of having been a part of this process. I know what each of them, how each of them works. Continuity is the most important thing. So if it's going to be whether they're TMAC members or whether they're Te Kaua Tamu members, being part of the workshops and keeping abreast of the policy movements is really important. So yeah, I'd like to support that we do that we revisit these last ones.
I'm happy with that we can circle back around on it. And the reason being is I think we need to be open to where we receive nominations from.
Yeah, and I really like everyone to have around the table to have a good understanding of what this model is. Yeah. All right. Bye. Thank you. So there's the addition, the 2D addition. Otherwise, we're sticking with that. Jake and Marty, who moved to second of that. All in favour, say aye. Against? Kelly, thank you. Oh, now, Jeff, and Jeff, you want to talk about translation? Moving on to item 7.4, natural and built environment and spatial planning bills. And can we take all these 5 recommendations together?
I'm happy to do that.
I'm happy to move it, right?
Yeah.
I think it's all fairly straightforward.
Yep.
Somebody,
Talked about this for a while.
oh, yes.
Oh, right.
I got to because we're sticking up.
Oh, right.
When I scrolled down.
Otherwise, we've recently, workshopped this with our staff. We wish them well on developing these. The regional sector group, I had an update from them on Monday. They're going to have their submission before Christmas, so we can get a look at that. Fingers crossed as well. Yeah. Okay. Well, all in favour? Say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carry. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad, for the considerable work and putting all this together on the strength on Richard. Thank you. We're really grateful to the council.
Yes, totally. Okay, moving on to item 8, the chair's report. It's all fairly straightforward. Recommendation that the report be received. Amy, thank you. Seconder. Thanks,
second.
Rick. All in favour, say aye.
Right.
Against?
Right.
Carry. Thank you. Now to the CE's report, item 8.2, recommendation that the report be received.
Yep.
Rick, seconder, Joe, nice to hear from you. Any discussions there? It's a great report.
Yep, awesome.
Go, Joe.
Tomorrow, the Kaikoura Hokianga Community Board is meeting, and I've been once again running, seeking advice whether the Waima River is safe for fish and swimming. And, yeah, would like to know. It's got really significant effort from the Kaikoura Service Works going into it. It's quite a heavily fished river at times, especially over the summer. Yeah. Someone could help me with that advice.
Is there somewhere that the public can find out about?
I've been to the swimming side.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Tried to check it out, and it doesn't have rail. We can use a swimming side chair.
Okay. Advice from.
Madam Chair, I don't have the answer off the top of my head, Councillor Carr, but suggest that we've got two of our good group managers here in the room, and that we can catch up with you after this meeting. We can sit down for the day that we've got and see what we can answer. Happy to then provide the answer to the rest of the councillors also. No, I just don't know. Yeah.
That's great. I do know that the community out there do rely on the system. Thank you for that, Joe.
It's going to be quite a hot item on the agenda, I understand, Mike. Not this particular, but why is it the presentations and stuff?
Yeah, well, thank you, and please keep us up to date on how that process goes.
Yeah, thank you, Steve, for the excellent report. It's really a question for Colin. I'm not sure it's actually fair. I really think it's fair to answer right now, but in the 3 years I've been looking at these reports, I think the performance of municipal wastewater treatment plants appears to me to be deteriorating, not improving. I guess it's related a bit to Joe's previous question, particularly for one council. Have we done some strategic work around how we're going to address this, because it seems to we've got resource consent expired 6 years ago, and we've got a lot of performance issues with plants that are relatively new. Are we facing a situation where the councils are waiting for 3 waters to take the compost their hands, or and have we done some work around what will not get these 3 waters doesn't progress? So it's looking like we're facing this moment in train issues.
Over the last month, I've been meeting fortnightly with Colin and managers, coming up with a clearer program of where we're at with our consents, where we're at with our compliance for our wastewater supply and stormwater. The intention was by Christmas, and straight after Christmas, no criticism about that. It's current performance, it's performance stuff. I think I read district council's book, one council really. It seems to be, oh, sorry, did I get the impression that we were doing agile, far from that? I think that some of these plants are not performing. I don't seem to be any progress towards making these plants perform in place. Equally, I think as a regulator, we've got a role to make sure that we that we follow through and that we are strong with our district councils on the provisional instances to make sure that we do make sure that agencies that are operating on the real mission going forward have the negative compliance.
Yes, I think, okay, I've got Joe and John, I think, and be mindful that, you know, whatever we can do to support them, because I'm sure they want to fix, yeah, the issues as well. And if there's any, you know, help that I can give in terms of the mail form calls and things like that, that we have to continue to progress that. But I think it's a good move, Jono.
Through the chair, just in response to Councillor Craw's comment, I do draw your attention to a couple of the treatment plants that they have made a little bit of progress. For example, the Ahipara one, they are actually in the process of obtaining a UV disinfection unit to improve treatment there. And maybe I can elaborate more detail in future reports on some of the further action as well, because, and again, in response to Councillor Carr's comment, 3 of the 4 wastewater treatment plants that discharge into receiving waters that end up in the Hokianga Harbour, they're currently in their consent process. 2 of those are going to be heard in, I think it's February, March next year. And Kaikoai, they are doing a lot of work with local hapu iwi to try to sort out the issues. So there is work going on in the background. I could probably elaborate on a bit more of that in future if you want to, if you want me to report on that.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. Thanks, Colin. It's so what I've been told by people who affect parties or members of the community is there's a significant amount of money available for housing in both Kaikoai and Kawakawa sewage catchments, and that there's an expectation it's going to hook on, and whether it's right or wrong, you know, just really the lines got to be drawn in the sand, and I'm hopeful that some of that funding from the government will be available to improve, especially the Kaikoai sewage. I don't know if council's been kept up, like the state have been kept up to date on that one. How abreast you are with that matter, but really we don't want this to run away like the train, you know, further and further away from the station it started at. But if you've got information on that, I wouldn't mind having a chat with you, Colin.
I think we particularly all need to know this information. It's quite experienced, and especially when you start getting those raised. John's point, we get population pressure on all these plants now, population rise. Plus, we've got climate change impacts, significant gouts of floods and inundation issues. So I'm just wondering whether we are privy to that kind of information, or are we able to gather it, or are we able to supply it to us? Because we need to be on top of this. What district council is on top of it, and we need to be right there, make sure they do it. So I am very concerned about the performance of these plants.
John or Indian.
Just noting that in terms of reference for the natural resources working code, this encompasses within the terms of reference, and this speak that regulatory working code. So the compliance and consent we can prevent governments through that just to help with training.
Okay, did you catch that, Joe? So
yeah.
Would you? Would you mind just repeating that?
So the tracking for consistency compliance is a specific element within the natural resources review. In terms of reference, we'll make sure that we bring this and push this on the governance program through that. In addition to a current year, so that provides you an opportunity to have a more detailed conclusion on it.
Well, I wonder if we can do something that's actually very relevant, say, to the Hokianga and perhaps invite somewhere into our system, say, one representative from the Kaikoura Hokianga Community Board, because if you read through the minutes, there's an undercurrent of sort of they need clarity anyway, and basically there's some pretty sort of strong people out there, and they want to forge a way forward, and really the best way I think is actually could bring them in somehow.
Thank you.
If we could invite one member from the Kaikoura Hokianga Community Board to part of some reporting structure we've got here regarding the municipal effluent systems.
Yes, Kapaja. I believe that we had one of the community board members attend the Te Marawata meeting. She was quite vocal as well on it. So Johnny could note that and we could continue moving forward. But John, did you still have?
Yeah, I do. One thing. Great report. I just sort of comment on that Dargle one as it's replacement consent application will finish this year. There's only 2 weeks left. Non-compliance with WQ discharge volume. Oh, this is the bottom of page 50. Sorry. And under AN. So I don't know what all that really means, but this is a plant that's under pressure. This is people have been paying for a plant in Mangawai, which is a bit tough on this group. It also has a Salt Fern Farm plant going into it as well. So it's part of this industry good for the area. I'm concerned about this plant itself. It came up in on the election trail. So yeah, wouldn't mind a bit more education on this at some point.
Great, thank you for that, John. Yes, so through the committee, the Natural Resources Working Party committee, that's great to hear that you're abreast of those issues, all of you in your local communities, and I look forward to that information next year. Are there any other matters on the CS report?
I'll just clarification there. Could we invite along to that committee, say someone from the community board?
Let's look into it. Can we look into it?
Yeah.
Yeah, rather than.
Just remind you members that you don't take over meetings up with the
Yeah.
so they can come along.
We did it formally.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I think we'll get started first, but yeah, I think it's just what
So I can relay that to them if you contact them. Yeah.
Let me talk to Ruben. I'm talking to Ruben after this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Anything else from the CA's report? Right, well.
Kei a hai te kahi kei te whārangi piti te kaumā ono, page 76. Ina titira tātou ki te lawa whakatā New State Highway 10.
The property purchase.
Ai, he mea nui tērā kia kōrero hia tērā pake ki te mara. Me noho nei tērā haukai. Just that's an important issue, I believe, that needs to be brought to the attention of the mara.
Sorry, what page?
Page 76. Te whārangi piti te kaumā ono e te hea mana. E mea pēnā te mōtua
I was under the impression that council would have processes of engaging with the local marae and landowners when acquiring land, particularly holiday land. Are you there? Did you find it?
I'm just off the page, Madam Chair, and this one here is reporting on the agenda paper from last council meeting. Councillor Jones, I recall that after that corridor at council meeting, we had some ongoing conversations with staff leaders. Did you get clarification that you were looking for in that corridor, or is it still an outstanding matter?
I do believe it's still an outstanding matter through you, Madam Chair. And a month has passed, or almost a month since that conversation.
So there are some people in the community that didn't know, like that are within
From what I can understand. And so I'm just raising to our attention the importance of that type of engagement.
Sure, Madam Chair, can I just take it as an action against myself to come back to you? 76.
That was on page 76.
Yeah.
So we purchased that whenua to help with the flood scheme.
Oh, right.
And
Right, gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was, yeah, surrounded by Māori land as well. Well, yeah, happy to watch. Any other matters regarding the Steve's report?
I moved it. Yeah, a long time ago.
Thank you. Well, all in favour?
Aye.
Yes. Against? Carry. Thank you. Moving on to 9.1, receipt of committee minutes. Oh, this was the Civil Defence Emergency Management Group.
I'll move it. I'll second it because I was the alternate.
Sorry to have missed that. It was a real double booked up day that day, but it was great to see all of the participants.
That was good. That was a good start. And Kelly Stratford is the chair, and I'm the deputy chair. The only thing I think I need to inform you is that our plan for the multi-agency coordination stand up is with you regional centres, not quite as set and concrete as we thought it was this time last year, but we're still working towards accommodate and having that stuff in here. And we need to find a little bit more money, but I'm fairly confident we'll get the whole ride of this term.
That's exciting, Jack. Yeah, thank you. So, all in favour of the report being received?
Aye.
Against? Carry. Thank you. Now, do we have any public?
So we're still currently live streaming. If we want to get a mover and second to go
Yeah,
into
on
business,
that.
we'll probably
Rick and Amy, thank you. Do we actually have some? I was just wondering, I can't quite see the number.